But now, as to the Indians, I don't even care to discuss that kind of alleged complaints that they have against this country. I do believe with serious, scientific reasons the worst kind of movie that you have probably seen, worst from the Indian viewpoint, as to what they did to the white man. I do not think that they have any right to live in a country merely because they were born here and acted and lived like savages. Americans didn't conquer, Americans did not conquer that country. Whoever is making sounds there, I think is hissing. He is right, but please be consistent. You are a racist if you object to that. Laughter and applause. You are that because you believe that anything can be given to man by his biological birth or for biological reasons. If you are born in a magnificent country which you don't know what to do with, you believe that it is a property right. It is not. And, since the Indians did not have any property rights, they didn't have the concept of property, they didn't even have a settled society, they were predominantly nomadic tribes, they were a primitive tribal culture, if you want to call it that. If so, they didn't have any rights to the land, and there was no reason for anyone to grant them rights which they had not conceived and were not using. It would be wrong to attack any country which does respect, or try, for that matter, to respect, individual rights, because if they do, you are an aggressor and you are morally wrong to attack them. But if a country does not protect rights, if a given tribe is the slave of its own tribal chief, why should you respect the rights they do not have? Or any country which has a dictatorship government, the citizens still have individual rights, but the country does not have any rights. Anyone has the right to invade it, because rights are not recognized in this country and neither you nor a country nor anyone can have your cake and eat it too. In other words, want respect for the rights of Indians, who, incidentally, for most cases of their tribal history, made agreements with the white man, and then when they had used up whichever they got through agreement of giving, selling certain territory, then came back and broke the agreement, and attacked white settlements. I will go further. Let's suppose they were all beautifully innocent savages, which they certainly were not. What was it that they were fighting for, if they opposed white men on this continent? For their wish to continue a primitive existence, their right to keep part of the earth untouched, unused, and not even as property, but just keep everybody out so that you will live practically like an animal, or maybe a few caves about. Any white person who brings the elements of civilization had the right to take over this continent, and it is great that some people did, and discovered here what they couldn't do anywhere else in the world and what the Indians, if there are any racist Indians today, do not believe to this day, respect for individual rights. I am, incidentally, in favor of Israel against the Arabs for the very same reason. There you have the same issue in reverse. Israel is not a good country politically, it's a mixed economy, leaning strongly to socialism. But why do the Arabs resent it? Because it is a wedge of civilization, an industrial wedge, in part of a continent which is totally primitive and nomadic. Israel is being attacked for being civilized, and being specifically a technological society. It's for that very reason that they should be supported, that they are morally right because they represent the progress of man's mind, just as the white settlers of America represented the progress of the mind, not centuries of brute stagnation and superstition. They represented the banner of the mind and they were in the right. Thunderous applause.